Ukrainian passenger jet crashed shortly after takeoff from Tehran on Wednesday this week. And now there's some suspicion based on intelligence coming from the Western countries indicating that it could have accidentally been shot down by Iran. Now, this is a devastating story, regardless of how this happened, why this happened. About 170 people were on board. 79 of them were Iranian, 63 were Canadian, and 11 were Ukrainian, including 9 crew members. There were also 10 Swedish individuals, 7 Afghans, and 3 people from the UK on as well. So 176 fatalities. People are trying to figure out what's going on. And when the story first broke, it appeared that there was no connection with escalating tensions between the United States and Iran. And remember, Iran had attacked 2 US bases in Iraq using missile strikes, but this passenger jet crashed an hour later. So there was some reason to believe that it had nothing to do with what the Iranians were doing. But now, and I want you to be skeptical because nothing is confirmed at the moment. The story is still developing. Now there are some intelligence officials here in the United States who are arguing that Iran might have accidentally shot it down. So let me give you the details. First, the London-based firm IHS Markit said in a memo that it assessed that the Ukrainian International Airlines Boeing 737-800 was likely to have been shot down mistakenly by the IRGC-operated SA-15 missile. It cited the images circulating on social media that purported to show debris from a Russian-made Tor M1 missile known to be possessed by the Revolutionary Guard scattered near the crash site. Now, that image has been shown all over social media. It hasn't been verified yet, and I feel uncomfortable saying that, oh, this is the missile, it was definitely a missile attack. Again, hasn't been verified, and the Iranians are denying that they did this. Also, I wanna just quickly note, it could not confirm the authenticity of the images, but said it assessed them to be credible. Now, with that said, this is what the images. So if you see this online, just understand that this is not a confirmation that Iran was behind the crash, but you should just know this is what's going on around social media. This is the image that people are looking at. Officials also told US media that they had identified the signature from an Iranian anti-aircraft missile battery being activated shortly before the aircraft crashed into countryside southwest of the Iranian capital, killing all 176 on board. So look, before I get into what we're hearing from the Iranian government, I wanted to get your thoughts, John. Am I wrong to be overly skeptical about what we're hearing from Canada, from the United States, from the UK?
Well, I think that you should be skeptical about what in particular. I think there's many things to potentially be skeptical about. There's a lot of potential possibilities. It could be mechanical or non-mechanical. If non-mechanical, it could be an attack. If an attack, it could be a non-state actor or a state actor. If a state actor, it could be the US or Iran or some other body. I think most people were trying to be very responsible the night of the attacks on those 2 bases. I saw the initial news about the plane, but I think everyone was suspicious because the timing was very suspicious. I mean, the plane had just gone through its maintenance a couple of days earlier. Planes do not frequently crash immediately after takeoff. It does happen. Generally, it doesn't happen right at the site of an interstate conflict. And so people were questioning that, but none of that means that one actor in particular is responsible.
Right, so if you're looking for some clarity from US President Donald Trump, have no fears. I have a statement from him about this. He said, someone could have made a mistake on the other side. Some people say it was mechanical. I personally don't think that's even a question. I have a feeling that something very terrible happened.
Well, to be fair, he doesn't know what to think yet because he hasn't read what to think on Alex Jones or Breitbart.
Or hasn't seen what to think on Fox News. Now, the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson had earlier called for a full investigation following a telephone conversation with the Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. Specifically, according to Iran's civil aviation organization, it is impossible that a missile hit the Ukrainian plane, and such rumors are illogical. And they're claiming that they have evidence to show that the pilot realized that there were possible mechanical issues and that the pilot wanted to turn around. And so if they have that evidence, they should provide it. The black box, by the way, was recovered. And so, yeah, there should be a full investigation, regardless of what the accusations are. Even if Iran weren't being accused of doing anything wrong, we should know what happened with that flight.
Well, we should know what the evidence is, but also what the evidence represents. The fact that the plane started to turn doesn't prove anything about what actually caused it to initially catch fire. But again, there's no reason to jump into believing any one explanation. I will say, because I know we're going to talk a little bit later about the briefing that lawmakers received yesterday. What you read earlier about the radar blip of the anti-air battery, that's already more specific intelligence than we've gotten that supposedly led to Qasem Soleimani's death.
100%, exactly.
That tiny little bit.
But look, if there is reason to believe that these are casualties from Donald Trump's irrational decision to take down Iran's top military general, people should be aware of that. People should understand that there are consequences to military aggression, to any type of conflict that escalates to the point that we experienced over the last week. And one other thing that I wanted to note is that Justin Trudeau felt the need to speak out about this because so many Canadians lost their lives on that plane. So let's hear a quick statement from Trudeau.
The news will undoubtedly come as a further shock to the families who are already grieving in the face of this unspeakable tragedy. We have intelligence from multiple sources, including our allies and our own intelligence. The evidence indicates that the plane was shot down by an Iranian surface-to-air missile. This may well have been unintentional. This new information reinforces the need for a thorough investigation into this matter. Canada is working with its allies to ensure that a thorough and credible investigation is conducted to determine the causes of this fatal crash.
One of our members, Dell, wrote in and said, good evening, everyone. Sad day. It was surreal watching my Prime Minister Trudeau tell Canadians that the plane that killed 63 of our fellow Canadians and many others was very likely shot down. Heartbreaking and frightening. There is a lot of anger here toward Americans and the Trump administration. I'm an American Canadian. This is very strange times. And I agree with you. And we've been very critical of the Trump administration because there are consequences. Again, we don't know for sure what happened with that plane crash, but regardless, there are consequences to the actions that Trump took. And if this is related to that, I hope that people around the world understand the gravity of military action and any type of military aggression against another country.
Well, I happened to see, I was on Twitter before the show started, and I saw one of our, Tom Zawacki had tweeted in a tweet from Marco Rubio saying, it's just a matter of time before you start hearing some say that it's Trump's fault that Iran made a mistake and shot down a commercial airliner. So we don't know if the official story that we're hearing right now is accurate, but if it's accurate, they're related.
Right.
They're certainly not unrelated. When they killed Soleimani and we said they had created an incredibly tense, dangerous situation, we didn't just mean because Iranian and American tanks could meet on the border. We meant that they created a dangerous situation. Now, is he the most responsible one? No, the person that fired the missile is more responsible, but it is simply nonsense to say that if Donald Trump hadn't decided purely on his own to take out Soleimani, that this would not have happened. That is simply true. That is an indisputable fact.
Right. And as we know, the Trump administration did decide unilaterally to take out Iran's top military general, and that has actually caused a rift between Republican senators, which is a huge story today. And so I want to talk about that a little bit, but just keep in mind, there are some people who understand the gravity and the consequences that come along with what Trump did. And we need to take this upcoming election. I know that we already have, but consider all of this as you think about who you're gonna vote for. We need to get him out. We need to get him out. He is irresponsible, he's irrational, he's ignorant, he's hateful, every imaginable thing. And even if you happen to be a Trump supporter who never bought into the fact that he's a terrible, hateful guy. You have to at least acknowledge the fact that he shoots from the hip, he's overly emotional, he's full of rage one moment and then all of a sudden pretending to be super happy the next. He's completely influenced based on who he talked to last. You never know what he's gonna do next. You can't have someone this ignorant running the country because at some point he could get us involved. I mean, and I want to be very clear about how we covered his address yesterday. No one here is giving him credit for de-escalating anything, okay? What he did could have led to a full-blown war, and he always does this. He always escalates tensions. He did that with North Korea, and then he tries to de-escalate and take credit for that. He gets no credit, okay? He is a dangerous person. He should not be leading this country.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.